Coming up this morning on DITV, we bring you the latest in a few violent incidents that happened over the weekend.
And later, we tell you why a local transportation company is getting some backlash.
We have highlights from the women's basketball game against Sanford this weekend.
And we take a closer look at the women's gymnastics black and gold inter-squad meet.
Will we be seeing some snow later this week? Keep watching to find out more on weather.
We've got all that and more coming up.
DITV starts now.
Good morning and thank you for tuning in to this live Tuesday edition of DITV. I'm Noah Gowdy.
And I'm Becca Scadden. 3 people are in custody this morning after being involved in a shooting yesterday afternoon. Iowa City police were called to the area surrounding Grant Woods Elementary School after reports that someone had been shot. Upon arriving to the scene, Iowa City police determined that nobody was hurt, but were dealing with a situation involving at least 6 people. Multiple units were called to the scene to help control the situation. And after a short chase on foot, the suspects were arrested near the scene at the intersection of Lakewood Drive and Amber Lane. As part of protocol, Grant Woods Elementary, as well as the nearby Alexander Elementary, canceled the remainder of outdoor activities and kept their doors locked. A reward is being offered to anyone that has information regarding this case. If you do know something, please contact Iowa City Crime Stoppers at 319-358-8477.
Over the weekend, an Iowa City man was arrested after he hit a pedestrian and fled the scene. 23-year-old Yanan Chen was stopped by the police in the early hours on Saturday morning. Police caught Chen speeding and striking a pedestrian at the intersection of Burlington and Dodge Street. After a short car chase, police finally stopped Chen, where they found that he was driving under the influence over twice the legal limit. Chen could face up to 2 years in jail after this weekend's incident. It's that time of the year again, Becca, where thousands of students will be heading home for the holiday season, but one company is making that difficult for certain customers.
That's right, Noah. DITV's Bo Bowman is standing by in the newsroom to tell us more about the issue. Bo?
That's right, guys. Suburban Express, a company based in the Chicago area that provides weekly transportation from various universities such as the University of Iowa and Illinois campuses to the Chicago suburbs. While most students see this as a convenience, the company's been pretty well known to be difficult with some of its customers, and its latest ad is grabbing national attention. Last week, the company emailed an ad that listed the bus's amenities. One that sticks out: you won't feel like you're in China on our buses. This caused major backlash, prompting the company to issue an apology. In the email, the company stated that they received negative feedback and disagreed with how the University of Illinois is being run, meaning that they don't like the fact that the school allows many foreigners to attend the university. The email closes saying they agree having a healthy mixture of different cultures is valuable, but aren't comfortable selling the university. On Sunday, the University of Illinois issued a statement saying the company has a long history of taking advantage of students and staff and faculty. They went on to say that the international students insulted are a valued part of every aspect of both the university and local communities. Administration repeatedly stressed that the university is not affiliated with the company and expressed that the company's opinions are offensive, bigoted, insulting, and in direct opposition of the values of the university. Now, this is a developing story, and students are advised to take caution when doing business with Suburban Express. And make sure to check out today's print edition of Daily Iowan for more coverage.
Now, Bo, before we let you go, is there any legal action taking place?
Yes, Becca. Last night, the Illinois Attorney General issued a subpoena on the company, meaning the company potentially violated the Illinois Human Rights Act, and due to civil rights issues, the company must now turn over any documents and other information to be investigated.
Bo Bowman in the newsroom, thank you.
It was announced yesterday that the United States Supreme Court has ruled in favor of President Trump's travel ban. After almost a year-long battle, the Trump administration was granted permission to block admission to the United States from 6 countries, including Syria, Chad, Iran, Libya, Somalia, and Yemen. President Trump campaigned back in 2016 on the proposed travel ban and signed an executive order back in January to try and establish this ban. Since then, the terms of the ban have been revised to exempt certain people from being affected. People are angered by this ruling, some blaming Trump and the Supreme Court for splitting up families. Stick with DITV as further details on this story develop.
It was announced last week that the Iowa House of Representatives will now require every employee to participate in sexual harassment training. Before, Iowa House staff were only required to sign a document indicating they had read over the sexual harassment policy. Now, in an effort to increase the House's human resource presence, staffers will be required to watch an online training video and then sign a form. Senate leaders expressed that they are on board to update their current sexual harassment policies, as this new initiative will give staffers a solid work environment.
The city of Iowa City wants to remind drivers that if and when a snowstorm hits the area, that they must move their cars to avoid tickets and towing fees.
In the event of a snow emergency, drivers will be warned at least 4 hours in advance before towing begins. There are 4 ways to park during a snow emergency.
Drivers will be allowed to park in the downtown ramps overnight for free as long as they leave before 7 a.m. Other parking is allowed at local parks and on limited streets.
The downtown business district will also be available for parking as normal. To get more details on these parking solutions and to sign up for notifications when a snow emergency is in effect, visit www.icgov.org.
Well, Becca, it sure wasn't feeling cold yesterday, but today is a different story.
Yeah, no, when I walked out of my apartment, I was honestly shocked. It was 65 yesterday. It's in the 30s today. Let's toss it over to Susanna in the weather studio for what we can expect this week.
Thanks, guys. And yeah, we have been experiencing some strange weather for the beginning of December. Yesterday, with the highs in the 60s and thunderstorms later that night, it really made me feel like it was more like spring than winter. But if you're missing our usual Iowa winter weather, don't worry because it's just around the corner. To start off your Tuesday, we'll be experiencing a windy day with wind speeds anywhere from 25 to 35 miles an hour and a high of 39 degrees, a 27 degrees difference from yesterday. Wednesday, we will experience similar conditions, but with a little more sunshine and the high dropping down to 35 degrees. Now let's take a look at our extended forecast. Thursday is looking almost identical to Wednesday, but on Friday is when we'll really start to feel the winter weather take effect, as we are expecting the first snowfall of the season later in the day on Friday, with the overnight low dropping to only 12 degrees, the lowest all week. Saturday, the high will reach 28 degrees, so that snow may stick around. Sunday, conditions will warm to 45 degrees to the end of your weekend, and to start off next week on Monday, we'll be feeling more winter weather-like temperatures, with the high reaching 39 degrees. Happy Tuesday, guys, and back to you at the desk.
At the end of the semester, students receive constant reminders to fill out their ACE forms for their classes.
DITV reporter Susanna Kluser tells us why these forms are important to not only staff, but future students as well.
As students are in the final stretch of the semester, ACE forms is a familiar term students are hearing more and more from their professors, and the need to fill them out. For students, it may be something they just pass by, but I talked to Assistant Professor Rachel Young to understand more of what the feedback they gain means to professors.
Professors really need that feedback because almost always you'll teach a class more than once and sometimes many more times. And you need to know how the students felt about the class to be able to make revisions, to maybe, or to feel good about the way something went. I mean, when there's positive feedback, that's great to hear too. Or when there's constructive criticism, that can really improve the experience of students in future semesters.
To fill out your ACE forms, all you have to do is log into Icon and click on the student tools at the top of the page. From there, click on course evaluations and you'll be able to see a list of all evaluations you need to fill out.
Filling out the forms is great and really important, but especially giving that individualized feedback and taking the time to type something in to the open-ended portion of the form has been really valuable for me as an instructor.
Reporting for DITV, this is Susanna Kloster.
Well, Becca, tough loss for Iowa basketball last night.
Yeah, big loss against Indiana. Not the best night for them, but let's toss it over to Will and Justin in the sports studio with more on that. Guys?
That's right, guys. The men's basketball team fell in Bloomington to the Hoosiers 77-64.
Yeah, well, that was a real tough loss as they dropped 0-2 in the Big Ten now.
But for women's basketball, the team is off to quite a start this season as they now sit at 8-1 on the year.
Yeah, Megan Gustafson is making a name for herself in the Big Ten and on the national stage with her performances so far this season.
And the women's basketball team was back on track this weekend as they played Sunday against the Samford Bulldogs.
The team was looking to bounce back from a tough home loss against the ranked Florida State team last week in the Big Ten ACC Challenge, and the Hawks had no issue getting past the Bulldogs, with the Hawks taking the game 80-59.
Iowa was led by junior Megan Gustafson, who had 18 points and 11 rebounds on the night. This was Gustafson's 8th double-double of the season, which gives her 35 career double-doubles.
Gustafson wasn't the only player with a standout night, though. Hannah Stewart also added 17 points to the mix, which was a career high for Stewart.
Next up for the Hawks, Iowa will travel to Ames to take on Iowa State this Wednesday at 6:30 in the annual Corn Cy-Hawk Series matchup. As we mentioned earlier, Megan Gustafson had another big night for the Hawks, which is why she was named Big Ten Player of the Week. Over the past week, Gustafson averaged 26 points and 10 rebounds, and she shot over 70% from the field.
This is Gustafson's 4th straight weekly honor. The past 2 weeks, she was named to the weekly honor roll, and the week of November the 13th, she was named the Player of the Week in the Big Ten. This is the 10th weekly honor of Megan's career, but this wasn't the only accolade Megan received this week.
Yeah, that's right. Justin Gustafson, along with Iowa football's Josh Jackson, were named the November Student Athletes of the Month. Gustafson is following 2 standout performances, which has helped Iowa get to an impressive 8-1 on the year.
And junior defensive back Josh Jackson is leading the nation in interceptions with 7 picks on the year, and 3 of those came from the Big Ten champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Josh Jackson and the rest of the football team will close out their season December 27th in the Bronx when they take on Boston College in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl, which will be held in historic Yankee Stadium. The Iowa women's gymnastics team is coming off one of their strongest seasons yet, and they were happy to get back on the mats and show the Hawkeye fans what is to come this season. Reporter Nicole Tomatic tells us more.
Women's gymnastics just started off their season with an intro squad meet. They had black and gold teams that played each other, which were super competitive, and they will have a strong season to come. The Black and Gold Meet is an annual kickoff event to the Iowa women's gymnastics season. The team divides in half and faces a high-energy atmosphere where many Hawkeye fans come out to enjoy the show. This year, the event was even judged by Iowa's very own men's tennis team. The team got to show off their skills this season for the very first time. The Hawks will start their season come January, meaning they'll have some time to prepare.
The hardest thing in this situation is we're separated. We don't do well when we're separated. We're like a puzzle. We don't function very well when we're apart. Put us together and we're fantastic. So it was just difficult in seeing how they were away from each other. Once they got in that one group, a completely different dynamic.
Well, my hopes for the upcoming season is that we continue to progress. This was our baseline starting point, and whatever happens, I just hope that we keep building from this lead.
You can catch women's gymnastics come January 6th at Arizona State. This is Nicole Tomasic reporting for DITV Sports.
It'll be a while before the fans can see the Glitter Hawks back in action, with their season opener taking place January 6th at Tempe, Arizona, where they will take on the Arizona Sun Devils and Iowa State in a tri-meet.
That's it from us in the sports studio, but be sure to tune in tomorrow for a look at the past 100 years of the Iowa swimming program.
And a preview of women's basketball matchup between Iowa State and Iowa. Guys, back to you at the desk.
And that'll do it for this edition of DITV. Be sure to tune in to dailyiowan.com every Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m.
And as always, remember to grab your print copy of the Daily Iowan. For DITV, I'm Noah Gowdy.
And I'm Becca Scadden. Thanks for watching and have a great day, Iowa City.